Mia, Chloe, and Emma had been best friends since high school, and before college started again, they planned one last weekend away together in a cheap little cottage hidden deep in the woods. The place felt cut off from everything, with thick trees on every side, one dirt road leading in and out, and a dark lake sitting just behind the house, like it had been watching the place for years. When they arrived, the old owner gave them the keys, looked at them for a second too long, and said that if they heard anything outside after dark, they needed to stay inside. The girls laughed because it sounded like the kind of warning people give tourists just to seem mysterious, and by evening, they had forgotten all about it. They made a fire, took pictures, told stupid stories from school, and for a while, the whole trip felt normal, quiet, and easy. Later that night, Chloe said they needed more firewood, so she grabbed a flashlight and walked toward the woodpile near the lake, while Mia and Emma stayed by the fire. A few minutes passed, and when Chloe still had not come back, the other two called her name and went looking for her through the dark. They found her standing near the water without moving, with her face pale and her flashlight aimed down at the mud. Emma asked what was wrong, but Chloe did not answer right away. She just pointed. At first, Mia thought it was a branch sticking out of the wet ground, but when she stepped closer, she saw fingers. It was a human hand buried in the mud near the lake. The girls dropped to their knees and started digging with sticks and their bare hands, and after a few horrible seconds, they uncovered part of an arm and torn clothing. Buried there was the body of a young woman. Emma screamed, and all three of them ran back to the cottage in total panic. Inside, they tried calling the police, but none of their phones had signal that deep in the woods. The storm that had been building all evening nearly broke over the house, and the power went out so fast the cottage felt dead in a second. They checked the landline, but that was dead too. Rain hammered the windows, thunder shook the walls, and Mia said they needed to leave right now. But when they looked outside, the dirt road had turned into a flooded strip of mud, and their car was stuck so badly it was not going anywhere. They were trapped, so they locked every door and window they could find, shoved a heavy table against the front door, grabbed kitchen knives and flashlights, and stayed together in the living room, listening to the storm. For a while, there was nothing except rain and thunder, and they almost started to believe they were alone. Then, around midnight, they heard footsteps outside. They were slow, steady footsteps, crushing through wet leaves, and they moved around the cottage once, then again, like someone was taking their time. Then came a knock on the front door. One knock, then another, then silence so complete it made the girls stop breathing. A few seconds later, something dragged slowly across the front window, long and careful, like fingernails or maybe a knife. Emma covered her mouth to stop a scream, and Chloe whispered that maybe it was just an animal, even though none of them believed that. Then a man outside spoke in a calm voice that was somehow worse than shouting. He said, "You should not have found her." The girls froze. Mia turned off her flashlight, and the whole cottage dropped into darkness. They sat there for hours, saying almost nothing, while footsteps moved from the front porch to the back door and sometimes overhead near the roof. At one point, they heard something heavy being dragged across the porch boards, and none of them wanted to guess what it was. Sometime after 2 in the morning, Emma noticed that the bedroom door upstairs, the one they had closed earlier, was now slightly open. She whispered that she thought they had locked it, but nobody answered, because nobody wanted to say what they were all thinking. Mia finally took a flashlight and went upstairs with Chloe behind her, while Emma stayed frozen at the bottom of the stairs. The hallway was dark, cold, and too quiet. Mia pushed open the bedroom door, and at first, the room looked completely normal. Then Chloe pointed at the floor. Fresh, muddy footprints crossed the room from the window to the closet. The closet door was hanging slightly open. Mia stepped closer with the flashlight shaking in her hand, and just before she touched it, a loud crash exploded downstairs. Emma screamed so hard they felt it in their chests. Mia and Chloe ran back down and found the back door wide open, banging in the wind while rain blew into the kitchen. Someone had been inside the house with them. Then they heard heavy footsteps above their heads. Not outside, upstairs, inside the cottage. The girls did not wait to see who it was. They shoved the table away from the front door, ran straight into the storm, and tore through the woods without caring about the rain, the mud, or where they were stepping. They just ran until they hit the main road and a passing driver stopped to help them. When police searched the cottage at sunrise, they found muddy footprints all through the upstairs hallway and leading into every bedroom. They also found a shovel leaning against the back wall. The body by the lake was later identified as a missing woman who had vanished 2 years earlier while staying in that same cottage. But the man the girls heard that night was never found. And before officers left the house, one of them noticed 3 words written with a finger on the dusty bedroom mirror upstairs. You are next. If you want more stories like this, stay with me for the next one.